So the Center for Investigative Reporting looked at 31 million mortgages using HMDA data, and they found evidence that redlining is still alive in about 61 major American cities. Did you see that report?
I have not had a chance to study it, no.
We'll send it to you. I think this is absolutely unacceptable. 50 years since the passage of the Fair Housing Act, which banned discrimination in lending. 41 years since the passage of the Community Reinvestment Act, which requires banks to lend and to invest in communities which they operate, including low and moderate income communities. In a recent speech, you said that you want to improve, and I'll quote you, the current supervisory and regulatory framework for the CRA to further the statute's objective of promoting access to credit and financial inclusion. What did you mean by that?
Well, I think that the objective of the CRA is a broad one, which is to...
I'll reclaim my time. I was hoping you had some things in mind. Do you have specific things you want to do with the CRA that you could identify today?
Well, we're working with the other regulators on specific proposals, and since those aren't out yet, I don't want to...
You don't want to mention them just
process.
yet? Well, yeah, so it's in the process. So, look, can you assure the members of this committee today that you will not support any changes to the CRA that will result or cut lending in low and moderate income communities?
The objective of the changes we're considering is to improve support to communities, not to cut it.
Right, so that's the objective, but the outcome is what I'm asking you about. Can you assure us today that you will not support changes to the CRA that will cut lending in low and moderate income communities?
That certainly wouldn't be my intention.
Okay, so what assurance can you give us that your intentions will be fulfilled regarding the CRA?
Well, I'll be here again shortly, and you can hold me accountable for the outcome of our proposals. We will seek comment and on the proposals that we make, and take seriously people's comments as to whether we're achieving our objectives.
Okay, well, early this month, the Treasury released a series of recommendations for revising the CRA, which you've alluded to already. One of those recommendations relates to penalties lenders face for failing CRA exams. Only about, I don't know, 1 or 1.5% fail, right?
It's rare to fail.
Yeah, it's rare to fail. But the report says a bank with a less than satisfactory CRA reading, about 1% of the people, or banks, should continue to receive enhanced scrutiny, but more consideration should be given to the bank's remediation efforts to date and whether improving the application would benefit the communities served by the bank. Do you believe Treasury's plan to relax penalties for banks who fail the CRA exam will achieve the CRA's intention and your intention of increasing lending and investment in low-income communities?
Well, I don't think that Treasury's intention there in that reference is to relax penalties, but rather to consider the overall consequences of a particular transaction that may be proposed. There are certainly circumstances where the low and moderate income portions of a community can be actually helped by a particular transaction that under current practices might not be allowed for...
You mean like payday lending and rent to own? Is that what you have in mind?
No, simply the increasing the ability of a particular institution to serve a low and moderate income community might be helped. I think they're saying we ought to look at the facts and circumstances of the case, and that I would support, and try to decide whether we're actually achieving our objective.
Well, when you think about 61 major American cities having evidence of redlining based on home mortgage disclosure data, and still 98% pass, I think that the exam should be tougher, not easier. And I hope that you will carry that forward, because for the people who are denied mortgages after they've qualified based on sometimes the color of their skin, I hope you share my concern with that and will use your authority to uphold people's rights.
I definitely share the concern that there should not be discrimination in lending.